Good morning. This is Margie Schaller, and I am here with the Morning Smiles podcast and one of the greats. This man, Neo Positivity, is a mental health coach and speaker who came busting into my life probably about 3, 4 years ago, and is not only a ray of sunshine everywhere he goes, but Neo drops little bits of gold everywhere he goes. And it's up to us whether we want to pick that up again, but I'm here to pick it all up. I want to make a gold necklace out of all the things, Neo, that you have to contribute. So I don't know that I did an adequate job of introducing you, but what I'd love to do is just start out like share with us who you are, what your story is, like how did you come to be in my life?
Well, my name is Neo from neopositivity.com. I am a law of attraction enthusiast, I guess you could say. A bunch of years back, long story short, a bunch of years back, I used to be a cop. Someone told me about this movie called The Secret. It taught me the phrase thoughts become things, which is now on the shirts that I wear every day. It's on my pants, it's on my wristbands. And the reason why I'm so adamant about being a walking billboard for this message is because what it has done for my life. Um, 8 months after I learned about it, I retired, which was my goal as soon as I learned about it because it made sense to me. I pieced everything together. I said, wow, I'm in control of my future. I just have to find out how to work this method, this biggest secret known to mankind. And I found some ways, studied some millionaires and billionaires, what they were doing. I retired, got custody of my kids, pilot's license. Nowadays, I just point at stuff. I use my mental exercises and my inspired actions, and I just get things. And that just makes me very passionate about it. And yeah, just spreading it to everywhere I can is my goal. And life has brought me to dentistry, which has brought me to you.
Nice, nice. So my guess is that this is not the life you always led.
No, no, I actually was born and raised in what used to be the poorest and most dangerous city in America. It's still the poorest city, Camden City, New Jersey. I was actually a police officer there too. So yeah, living in that atmosphere, you can imagine. I always say that people from the hood are all PTSD. All of them are
Mhm.
PTSD just from the lifestyle. And the teacher's telling you you're not going to make it to 21, and if you do you're not going to make it to 24. That type of mentality coming from everyone around you, from the cashier at the corner store to your guidance counselor. um
Mhm.
you can't have this mentality like that. But my father was always a shining beacon, in that city full of crime and all this other stuff. He was a sergeant in charge of the narcotics squad, so of course we were thinking differently than everyone else. We knew we wouldn't be living there much longer once he would get promotions and raises, and just not falling to what society is telling you you're going to be. That has always been
Mhm.
a foundational thought for me. If someone tells me I can't do something,
Mhm.
that's when I say go. I could be tired, sleepy, tell me I can't do something, and it's like you strapped a rocket to my back, and there's no stopping me. And I thrive on that. I love it. It feels good, and yeah, I keep that going.
So okay, you grew up in the crap and there was the drugs around you and the gangs around you and all the things. So you probably know a thing or two about the ultimate of peer pressure.
Oh my goodness,
Did
yeah. I
did
mean,
did that did your story take you through either into some of those dark places or just how to navigate those
I'll give
moments?
you I'll give you two examples. When you're young as a kid, they wonder, a lot of outsiders that have never visited these neighborhoods, they're like, why are all the kids turning to drug dealers? Well, when you walk home, there's a grid of streets that you can use to get home, up, left. At every single corner, there's a drug boy. And every single corner. And at every single corner, that drug boy says, hey, you're working for me today at 4:30. If I don't see you, you got a problem. At every single corner. So you're taking different routes home. And that right there is a set amount of peer pressure, because if you're not there, then you're going to have
Mhm.
trouble. They know other people. They have little brothers that go to your school that are going to see you at lunchtime, and the teachers aren't going to do anything about the fights that break out. I've been involved in all that several times. So that's an extreme amount of peer pressure for a child to be experiencing because it's physical harm to your physical well-being. And this is the second one. Years later, when I first started into the whole neo positivity era of my life after being retired, I used to go to New York every weekend, and that's where I would give speeches at. And the emphasis was on the drugs that they were doing. Everyone was doing them. Everybody was in, it was in the bathroom going, it was just a thing. And the pressure was, are you not one of us?
Yeah.
You're not going to do it too? Now, this is my career. I just retired from the police department. I'm excelling. I'm giving speeches in New York. I'm meeting CEOs, stuff I limos. They're picking me up from my house in limos an hour and a half away. I'm doing stuff I never done before. And now I'm being faced with, you're not one of us. All of it's about to end. All of it's about to end if I don't do it. And my excuse was I still have to take drug tests. That's why I used to tell them I have to take drug tests because, my whole pension in the police department and all the other stuff. And I got away with it all the way up until one guy said, "No, I know a retired cop." Blah, 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 blah. He blew up my spot, and literally, that was my last time there. That was my last time speaking in New York because
By
I
your
wouldn't.
choice or by theirs?
No, I wasn't invited to anything anymore because
Hmm.
I refused. My entire New York career ended in one fell swoop. It was over. I was making money. I was meeting celebrities. It all ended because I said no.
Yeah.
And
So I'm
shortly
just going to
after I
stop you
moved to,
there.
go
Wait, wait,
ahead.
wait. I'm just going to stop you there because that is the extreme of what I think people today still face. I talk to people all the time now, and I hear people who say their boss requires them to go on team bonding that is bar crawls. Their boss, as a salesperson, expects them to go out and wine and dine people and take them out drinking. Like
Yeah,
when
I
they,
never thought about that aspect of it. That's
yeah,
because wine and dine it just happens I never
all the
thought
time.
about that.
But
That's
if you're
rough.
sober and the first question is like you have to pull up the wine list and pick wine for the table.
And then you
Or if
order.
right, or
Oh
if
man.
you don't want to drink much, let's say you're just a one drink person and you have a nice dinner, you have your one drink, everybody has theirs, and then the table says, "Hey, let's go out to this cool bar." Now you're the host and you're forced into those situations. So while yours may be, a version of it, I'm here to tell you this is happening every day, everywhere, in every industry in 2024. So this is where I would love to dig in with you because I think that who you are, what you grew up with, and how you've translated that into what you offer today is the gift I would love for you to bring, the
Let's do
gold I would love for you to
it.
drop. So let's do that.
Let's do it.
Okay. So your career is over. You're no longer invited to speak at these swanky, high level, high visibility, powerful conferences. Now what?
I gotta tell you, I here's the thing. When I retired, I still had a lot of um, energy. I was 28 years old. My dad was always like, just sit back, be retired. I'm like, I'm 28. I got to do something. Um, I wanted to enjoy myself too, but I wasn't. I was still working 40 hours a week. I was still going hard, whether I was doing mental exercises, writing new speeches, coming up with poems, and making new posts. I was still putting in a solid 40 to 60 hours a week. And that's my whole thing. I didn't take days off. It was 7 days a week because I loved doing it, but it was still seven
Mm-hmm.
days a week. And there was other things I loved doing. And so I needed to, I said to myself, I want to sit back. I want to actually be retired. I want to feel what it's like to be retired. And I stopped and I did what I like to do. I fly remote control airplanes, I fly real airplanes. I play video games of the virtual reality. They didn't have that back then, but they have it now. Spend time with my family, my kids. We hit an all time high going to the park every single day. And that's what I did. That's what I did. But then that got boring. That got boring, and I needed a new way out. and I had opened myself to the possibility of moving to Florida. Life, I was in New Jersey my whole life, except for a small part between like 8 and 9. We moved to Florida for a little bit, but life has always kind of pushed me in the direction of Florida. But I didn't listen. I had a plan that I was going to make it, buy my old house because I love my old house, 5 bedroom, lots of land, huge house in Jersey. I wanted to make it first, buy my old house, and then travel the world. And it wasn't until years later when I entertained the possibility of maybe I have to leave first, make
Mm.
it. Then I could buy the old house back. I'm going to fix it up anyway. So I entertained the possibility. It made so much sense. I started adding up everything in my life that might have been hinting at this. And so many things were. Everything from my best friend in high school moved to Florida when he was 18. My whole mom's side of the family is in Florida. And then my father, who's my best friend, had moved to Florida like 2 3 years before that. So I was like, oh yeah, I think life's pushing me towards Florida. So ended up coming down here and my life just exploded. Everything took off. And I don't live with regrets, but I spent 10 years in that last house, the big house. If I would have came down here, all this would have been happening 10 years earlier, I think. But no regrets. Everything's happens the way it's meant to happen. Lessons needed to be learned. But yeah, that was my next move. Come to Florida, whole new atmosphere, start fresh. Never lived down here. Don't know anybody. Let's just go. Throw caution
Okay,
to the wind
so
and go.
so I want to reel you back a little bit because I think that it's so cool when you can see the signs.
Oof.
But for me, what I heard was this great, cool speaking career, and now you can't do it because you're not willing to participate in the drugs and the alcohol and all that kind of stuff. So how do you re-enter the arena that you love, which is being on the stage? I know that about you, and have that voice in your ear saying, "Well, but will I be accepted?" How do you navigate that, or how do you put boundaries so that the expectation is never that you be that person again? Like, how do you do that?
You have to, I'm going to say take a step back, but then switch it and say take a step in or under. You have to dive deeper. I am so thoroughly convinced that this is my purpose here on this planet that I have the mindset of I couldn't stop this train if I wanted to. So whether this New York thing happens, whether Tampa worked out or not, it was just going to work out. And I have that uncanny level of faith because of the law of attraction and thoughts become things. It has just added up. It would be one thing if I learned it, started proactively using it, because we're all using it all day, every day, every time you have a thought. It'd be one thing if I learned it and started using it and had faith in it. But no, when I learned it, it put together all the puzzle pieces I was missing in my past. It made everything that's
Mm-hmm.
ever happened in my life clear to me, which gave me the
Mm-hmm.
roadmap for the future. And I know,
Puzzle pieces. Yep, we know
there you
something about
go.
puzzle pieces. Yeah.
And I know that when you're doing what you're meant to do, the waves will be at your back instead of your face. And from growing up in the atmosphere that I grew up in the town that I grew up in, being a cop in that same town, I know what it's like to have the waves in your face. And as soon as I started pursuing this path, I don't want to say career path, I'm going to say path of spreading this message to everyone I could. The waves have been at my back, thrusting me in that air, in that direction, giving me everything I want along the way. So that right there is my confidence that wherever I go, whatever I do, as long as I trust my intuition and go to where it feels good, greatness is going to happen. And I'm batting 1,000. I was just talking about that earlier with someone else. They say when you're at the top, the only way is down. And so it's a worry. When you're number one, it's kind of like a worry. Somebody's going to come along. After so long of being at the top, that goes away. And I didn't realize that until about 30 minutes before this Zoom call. It's pretty much gone. It's just a way of life now. And I love it. I love it. I didn't have this before, but the confidence in this has changed everything. Dig deep.
Mm.
You've got to dive deeper. If you want to change the color of a paint of your surface of a painting, whatever, scraping the paint off is just painted over rust. You will always have to dive deeper if you want to change something for real, lasting change. Always got to go deeper.
So, have you had anybody come at you since those times with wanting you to participate in the parties or in the heavy drinking or in the drugs, or have you had people come at you since then?
There was a second part to the New York story that I don't really touch on much, but it was there where I'm a straight male and they wanted me to participate in other activities and I refused. That was another section of what ended my New York career. So that's been something that's been pushed on me. And even
Well, I
not
guess the
just in a,
question is, since you've made this transformation, since you become this man that you are today, since you have dug deep and reframed how you approach the world, have people since then come at you with these sorts of expectations or pressures or the equal
yeah,
signs in these crazy places?
100%. It doesn't stop because
Yeah.
for them it's having a good time. So it's Friday, it's Tuesday. Let's go have a good time. All right, let's go. And then you get to the place and you go, whoa, whoa, I didn't know you were doing all that. Yeah, so that I don't believe that's ever gonna stop. That's just
And
if
so,
that's the way someone parties, they're gonna want you to party with them that way.
okay, so here's where I want you to help me out because I do too. I have the same things, the same people coming at me in the same ways. Um, what I often hear is, what's wrong with you that you're
Mm.
not going to join us here? Or come on, don't be a party pooper. Or I'll just gracefully move myself out of that and then I'll sit in my room with FOMO when I see all the fun pictures. So so help me navigate how I do that inside without it being like leaving me just feeling crushed because of the choices that I make to stay healthy.
Well, first of all, to anyone listening who might have done this before, accidentally, didn't even realize it, I want you to recognize that whether you say what's wrong with you or whether you say, huh, like I don't nah, I'm not drinking
Mm-hmm.
tonight. Huh. It's the same thing. You might not have said anything, but you still touched that person in that way that you shouldn't have been. So acknowledge that. Don't do it again, please. The other thing is there's a large part of staying true to yourself. You know, I don't really have to take drug tests. I could partake in anything that I wanted to. I do have an addictive personality, though. That being said, there's certain things I'm going to stay away from because I don't feel like stealing my dad's VCR. I don't know if you remember back in the day, everybody was stealing their parents' VCRs. Um, so that's just it. At the end of the day, it's not a standard that I'm holding for myself. I know I have an addictive personality and I don't want to steal my dad's VCR. I'm not going to do it. So I don't care how you look at me. And I'm going to sit right here with you guys and network because my dad's VCR and my wallet is more important than what you think about me not drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll say this on top of that. At a lot of events, you'll see me walking around with a cup that has what appears to be orange juice in it, and it's orange juice and pineapple. You can think it's vodka and orange juice all you want. I'm not going to correct you as I sip on it. So I do bend in certain situations to avoid from people looking at me in certain ways or holding back on certain conversations or holding back from introducing me to other people that could advance my career, but they like to party the way they like to party and they don't want me to be the party pooper for that crowd. Sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
make the adjustments, you know, I make the calls. But at the end of the day, it's a shame that we got to go through this. But that's why I love what you guys are doing. You're making
Mm-hmm.
it a normal thing to say, hey, I'm going to drink this water today. And I love water. I love water more than any other liquid. I'm a
I'm
Pisces.
I'm down for the orange juice and pineapple juice.
I mean, that's it. I mean, that
Yeah.
no one knows anything. It's just the only thing you got to avoid. The only one thing you got to avoid is if you're talking with someone who's drinking and they walk up to the bartender with you.
Yeah.
Because then they're gonna
Yeah.
hear you order that and then da, da, da. But you know, that's not that big of a problem. But yeah, I mean you do
No.
what you gotta do, you
Yeah.
know, through.
So so because I know that you help people to find that inner place of that confidence. Let's take the salesperson who is being required to go on the bar crawl with their team. So you're going to do it, right? You're going to do it and you're going to feel icky the whole time, but you're going to do it. How can you do it and not feel icky?
Hold on, what do you mean by icky though? Like as
Um,
being the out one who's not drinking?
yeah,
Well,
and just being in that environment where everybody's getting sloppy and you still have to go along because that's the expectation. Like your whole thoughts become feelings thing. Like help walk me through what this looks like
attack
in
it from different
action.
angles.
Yeah.
Attack it from different angles. My sister's husband, his job was to take professional rookie athletes out and show them a great night out on the town. The lawyers would give him a stack of money. He'd take them out for a night on town and make sure they got home safe.
Mm-hmm.
As the salesman rep who's taking a team of people out, that's part of your job to get them home safe. You want to remain sober anyway. Now you got that mentality, and so does everybody else. He's our designated driver.
Mm.
You're attacking it from that angle. And then you got the other angles. I don't want to get sloppy drunk. Then I might do something that ruins everything. Then I'm not only am I gonna lose this sale, but I'm gonna get fired. You start hitting it from different angles in your mind, and you're not gonna want to drink. And that's when you start coming up with ideas like, you know what? Let me just get an orange juice and pineapple juice. They won't know the difference. That's when you start coming up with different ideas, and all of that together makes you okay with the situation, okay enough at least to do your job, which is to impress or get the sale or lock in the client or whatever it is. So I think it's about the totality of the circumstance and hitting it with as much reasoning, good reasoning as you can, to where you feel great and that greatness is pouring from your skin, and then they love you.
Do you
Boom.
know, I love that so much. I love that so much because it's reframing and putting us in a place of generosity and power instead of in a place of insecurity and shame.
There's nothing like saying you're the designated driver. I don't, in any situation in where you say I'm not drinking and that person looks at you funny or says something funny, if you say I'm the designated driver, you have now earned a whole new level of respect, and they will probably leave you alone.
Well, you know this. We all use Ubers now when we're out at conferences, but I'm the designated Uber driver. Like you can make it fun, you know?
Yeah,
And
I
I
got
love the
you.
phrase, I'm here to make sure that you have a great time. Like
Yeah.
that to me, I'm here to make sure that my wallet doesn't like end up in somebody else's pocket. Like there's so many fun ways that you can say these things that are so empowering. I
But
love that so
they
much.
they gotta be true to you though. Whatever you could
Yes.
say to them could fool them, but whatever you say to you has to be good enough to fool you. Otherwise, you're still gonna feel icky. So don't come up with something that's gonna fool you. Come up with something that's real. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to get too drunk and get fired from my job, like that. Say something like that to yourself. And that will make you not only not take the drink when they're 3 drinks in and they look like they're having so much fun, but that'll make you really tighten up everything you do, who's connecting with who, how the next conversation goes for the rest of the night. So just really wrap yourself in a certain mindset and keep yourself there with good reasoning.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So, with a little bit more time left, I would love for you just to help me understand a little bit more about this thoughts becomes feelings thing. Like give me a moment.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you like this. When you have a thought, a lot of people don't know this. When you have a thought, it travels down your spine and releases from your lower back and as an energy pulse. It's strengthened by emotion. Now, that thought then travels across the entire universe, not just America or Earth, across the entire universe. This is science. Look it up. Now, the third law of motion demands that every action has an opposite and equal reaction. So the universe has to do whatever it has to do to you to make that thought travel back to you, which is opposite, and be thought again, which is the equal reaction. So when you say, I hope I get that job, I can or I will get that someday, you're basically manifesting a future where you're saying again, I hope I get that job, or I will do this someday, which means you never get it. And so the emphasis is to see it as though it's happening now. You've heard people say you got to see it before you do it. You've heard people refer to speaking things into existence. You hear
Mhm.
songwriters, artists, movie stars, they're all hinting at it in different ways. Oprah Winfrey just dives right into it. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they just dive right into it. So that's the whole thought process behind it. If you can see every thought that you have like a drop of water going into different flower pots, things I like about my house, things I don't like about my house, my spouse, my kids, that last Facebook post, all day long, 60 to 70,000 thoughts on average per day per person. Each thought is going into a different flower pot. Flower pot with the most nourishment, where there once was nothing. Now there's a plant in front of you, some ugly enough to leave you saying, how did that get here? Because you've been thinking about it. That's what you've been focused on. And so, yeah, that's the whole thoughts become things thing. And my biggest study with that craft is our thoughts are seemingly random. Your brain throws at you what it's used to throwing at you. So my main area of focus has been shifting and changing what the brain is normally throwing at you. If it's over 94% of our thoughts are just average, the brain is just throwing stuff at us. So if I can change that 94% to be what I want it to be, then thoughts become things. The universe will start to shift, and I'll magnetize and attract the things into my life and situations into my life that I want. And so that's what my focus is: mindset shifting techniques. Brain is a muscle, has muscle memory. Change that muscle to think differently, live a different life. That's my whole thing. And man, this stuff works.
So give me
This
an
stuff
example.
really
Give
works.
me one simple example, like a simple, not a grandiose, but like simple example.
Yes. Affirmation. You say yes 10 times. By the third time you say it, you're smiling it. By the sixth time you're saying it, your brain is throwing at you reasons in your life to say yes, yes, yes. Just affirmation makes you feel good. Now you're manifesting situations, futuristic situations into your life where you're saying yes. And it's just that simple. You can say, I deserve this life. I deserve that lifestyle. You're saying things, you're putting things out there, things that you probably wouldn't have normally done. So yeah, I just love anything that makes you feel good is going to make you feel good again. You could
Nice.
sniper that and point right at something: job, career, spouse, or you could just be general. Say yes. Either way, you're manifesting greatness into your life.
Well, here's what I would like to speak into existence. I would like a day when everybody honors each other's choices. I would like a day when everybody lifts each other up when they are doing good for themselves and doing good for others. And if we in Sober Life Rocks can be a small piece of that, I would like to know that those people who make choices to not drink or drink less are just as equally embraced and welcome and included in all of the networking and all of the fun and all of the business opportunities and all of their hopes and dreams as those who are busy drinking themselves into their party and their fun and their stuff. Because it's all good. Like, it's all good. The fun and the networking, the partying shouldn't matter what's in your cup. We get to
Exactly.
honor each other for our own choices. So that's what I'm manifesting today.
Here's what I thought of when I first thought of Sober Life Rocks, and it's the after hour networking after a conference. And over in the corner is the group of Sober Life Rocks crew, all talking and they're separate. And I know that's what the average person is going to see. And that's not what we're doing here. We're integrating, we're making no difference. In the daytime during the conference, nobody's drinking, everybody's just doing business. At nighttime, we're all just going to do business. And that's what it is. That's what we're going for. Not two different groups, not so the Sober Life Rocks crew doesn't sit in their hotel room all night. They get to come down and be in the no, still integrated, still having fun. You don't have to be drunk to have fun. You had plenty of fun when you were a child. Let's do it now.
1000%. I'm so glad you brought that up. It is exactly right. We are no different. We are no better. We're no worse. We're all just people there. And what do we really want? We want connection
Community.
and community. And we want to be honored for who we are. Makes no difference what's in our cup. And some fun, by the way.
And some fun. Always some fun. Always.
Absolutely. Neo, thank you so much for coming on. Is there any last little bit of gem that you would like to leave us with before we're done?
You know what? I'll just plug real quick. Obviously, neopositivity.com is the one-stop shop where you can find everything from mental exercises to this morning huddle series I got. All kind of swag and gear, mental health retreats. One-stop shop for all that. Go check it out. Support me on Instagram and TikTok and everywhere like that because this message needs to be on the algorithm a lot more than some of these other messages. Let's spread positivity, baby.
1000%. I would encourage anybody who has any desire to go and have your life be richer and more meaningful and more true to yourself. Check this out. Check this out. Thank you, my friend. You are a gift to me and a gift to all of us.
Thank you.
Until next time, may you have morning smiles.